Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm continuing my Gamera series review. So, I'm reviewing Gamera vs. Jiger. And it's the 6th entry of the series of films. So yeah, more kaiju stuff. And kaiju means giant monster in Japanese. So yeah. I know I usually would make fun of stuff, like whatever I can think about, just to pass the time. Maybe I should be doing this more often, folks. Because the thing is that, yeah, I don't get out much. Okay, that's a bit of a lie there. I do get out a lot. So, but instead, I'm gonna stay put and actually review stuff. And stuff like just making fun of people. Or when someone makes some stupid remark. I know usually I like to make fun of stuff like that. Dumb people or whatnot. Yep. I even bring that out sometimes in my videos. So, I guess I'll just review more kaiju related stuff in this case. And again, of course, I'm going to be talking about something from this packet, volume 2. So, Gamera vs. Jiger, if I'm pronouncing it right. So, this of course is going to be the Blu-ray version, and this is the Japanese unedited version. Which of course, throughout the years, ever since its original release, there's been multiple copies of his DVD release. He's been released on a single disc, of course, on DVD. So, even with some other packets, of course, double features with some of the other films. Yep, this actually exists there, folks, with the American edited version. So, again, there's even the German version of this film, which again refers Gamera as the Frankenstein's monster. Yep. I mean, that's been happening before with the other entries of the series, but that continues for some reason with this one as well. But anyway, so yeah, there's been, again, like I said, multiple releases in packets as well. I think later on was re-released in a different packet. So yeah, just letting you know, this one contains 11 out of the 12 films that were made of the character. And there was also, yeah, these double features. Yeah, 2 double features was later on released as well. But yeah, that's the thing, folks. They keep releasing these films in different packs as well. Again, like in this one, this movie specifically that I'm reviewing. So this got a number of releases throughout the years with different companies. So different companies re-released this specific film. So like this packet right here, folks. So yeah, actually did happen. The actual Japanese version was released, you know, and like this as well. But of course, then it was later on re-released on DVD, of course, in this packet, folks. Yeah, this is a pretty expensive packet, this one right here, so yeah. But of course, those the other English versions of this film that was also released, again, in different American edited versions of packets in here, folks. Or if you just want to get all the original films in this Japanese set, with containing all the Japanese rated films in the original series, which costs a pretty penny. Oy. But of course, like I said, folks, I'm just going to be sticking with the Blu-ray version from the Volume 2 collection of Blu-ray. Of course, it's going to be the entire footage, uncut, which is fine by me. I've always preferred these films to be unaltered anyway. Yeah, that's the thing, folks. If something is unedited, don't censor it. But I know lots of people over the years, especially in America, they tend to censor a lot of stuff, to which I never really understood as to why, really. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, if you ask me. But I don't know, just doesn't make any sense to me. Why gotta edit stuff out? If something's meant to be there, leave it in there. I don't know, maybe that's just me, I guess. But anyway, I guess I rambled on a little too much, I guess. But anyway, of course, as usual, I do have to talk about the plot, so let's just get into the story of this film, shall we? So, again, this is the unedited version reviewing on Blu-ray, so here we go, folks. Yes, sir. So yeah, for the opening sequence, we get like a Japanese theme song being played, which is actually kind of catchy if you ask me. But anyway, so with this one, we start with some sort of like expo kind of a thing being done here. So I guess this is a way to bring up this particular ancient item. And yeah, let's just say it's not a particularly nice one, because let's just say some people are bringing up the fact that it's cursed, and they're trying to warn everybody that leave it alone, don't deal with it, just let it be. But of course, you know, does anyone listen? Of course not. Nobody really listens to the warnings of somebody because they just want to continue. This thing is cursed. It's a bad mojo. And it's always like a cursed item, so to speak, but they continue to dig side, of course. So nobody listens, obviously, so ignorant humans. Yep, ignorant human beings, of course. So the digging, the exploration continues, but then we could do see Gamera real quick. Of course, Gamera does sense that something is wrong. Gamera himself already knows that something ain't quite right, so of course he has to come along. But of course, even with Gamera, nobody listens. Even, I guess this was Gamera's way to, you know, to warn him about this situation that's about to come up. Because again, this item's cursed. But again, the human being characters will refuse to listen. So of course, Gamera would just do what it takes to, you know, stop this thing from occurring. But eventually, there's an evil monster that comes around. So yeah, it's the monster character. Yeah, he finally awakes and wreaks havoc, causes a lot of destruction, of course. But in the storyline, we actually get to see these kids. Yep. Just come on now. Again, yep. This is here, folks. Can't believe it. Yep. And that's the thing, folks. They're gonna be basically the primary focus of the story. So yeah. Again, the kids are pretty annoying in here, folks. I mean, okay, they may not be as annoying as the other characters from the other movies, but still, they're pretty annoying. So basically, this film is going to be centered around the idea that there was this ancient statue that's moved for display, and this for this expo, and there was this giant monster that's been released as a result. And of course, the monster itself goes on a rampage in pursuit of that very statue. And of course, Gamera comes around, of course, obviously. So I guess you can say that's the basic summary of this movie, so to speak. And I guess this one is, well, better than the previous one I reviewed. So I didn't hate this movie really. It didn't piss me off like the other two Gamera films I reviewed. So yeah, we get to see this new monster in here, folks, which I thought was pretty cool, I guess you can say. Yeah, Jiger, if I'm pronouncing the name, Jiger, is pretty cool. Yeah, he causes some destruction. The destruction scenes in this one is actually pretty well done. It's actually quite well structured. It's well choreographed. And of course, we get to see Gamera making battle with him, of course. And of course, you know, have to bring up the fight scenes. The fight scenes were, again, better choreographed. And of course, the creature, Jiger, had his own abilities, like this ray thing. So that was pretty cool. So, and he can fly. Of course, yep, he can actually fly, which seems kind of weird to look at if you ask me, but whatever, kids. And he actually has these horns. He can actually shoot horns out of his face, which of course is kind of weird. And those are that sort of noise that Gamera doesn't like, that, you know, the creature does make. So there's that. So the way that Gamera looks in this one is pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, he looks pretty. Yeah, the budget is not that big. Again, this one is cheaply made, of course. So yeah, he does look a little bit different compared to the other movies, I guess you say. He does look a bit different, but you still get the overall impression that he's Gamera, of course. It's not my favorite design of the character, but whatever, guys. But the design for the monster It's pretty cool. I like this creature, the way he looks, his abilities, his origin story is pretty cool, I suppose. So yeah, they actually give this character an origin story, I suppose, of some sort anyway. So he didn't really have it and whatnot. He's more of a earthbound creature. He's not from outer space or anything, which of course is pretty cool. And that's the thing, he can actually also swim. Well, you know, he has another ability, and that's swimming. So yeah, he's a pretty tough opponent for Gamera. He's a really tough opponent. I guess that's their way of trying to make this film seem suspenseful, which is fine by me, I guess. I don't mind making films suspenseful. And that creature's tail, at the end of it, he actually pokes camera with it. Because there's like a little pointy thing at the end of it. So yeah, he ejects Gamera or something. So that gets kind of weird. And again, for the behind the features, this again is Bellborn. There's nothing special here behind the special features. Come to think of it, there aren't any special features. You just get the unedited version of the film, which to me is pretty sad. I know I complained about this already, so there's nothing new I can add to my complaint here because you just get the movie. While yes, it's a great thing that you do get the film here unedited, but unfortunately that's how you get it. The audio is really good. You get to hear all the music and whatnot in this film. So yeah, that's like the only good thing I say about it is like, you know, high definition quality of it. But anyway, yeah, there's one section I thought was pretty cool, interesting. Yeah, Gamera comes over here to the Tokyo Bay or whatever, and he actually freezes up a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, it gives Gamera a challenge in this film, like I was saying before. I guess the film's a way to create suspense. And their kids come around, they somehow get a little submarine, and they actually go inside of Gamera. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of you. This is something like I didn't see this kind of a thing done before in the previous Gamera film, but they just found somehow to get into this little yellow submarine thing. And the next day, of course. So I guess they just got curious, I guess. So I guess they're trying to help Gamera out in some ways. So this, of course, is a good thing. So the kids in this film, they actually were useful, which of course is a good thing. So I guess the kids were trying to help out, you know, the giant turtle, I guess you can say. So again, I do think this is actually a compliment I'm giving the movie, because they're actually having the kids being involvement in Gamera, helping them somehow to get the little monsters inside of them. Ton of 5 there's little monsters, so the kids in this film can help him that way. Yeah, rather than just singing. Yeah, they're not just cheering for Gamera, so they have something to do there, so that's a good thing. And going back to the whole, you know, ray thingy, audio folks, that little ray thing they had for the monster, it actually became pretty deadly. I mean, really, it actually shows off the human characters, the citizens of Tokyo actually getting killed off. Yeah, that's kind of disturbing to look at. All their flesh has been vanished. Their organs, yeah, they're dead. They're dead as you can be. So yeah, they actually went there. Sure did. As for the acting, folks, it's a hit or miss. A lot of the acting here isn't particularly great, really. So when it comes to acting, there's nothing that's Oscar worthy, really. So not that I was expecting much to begin with, but still. So yeah, the kids aren't as annoying as I said before, compared to the others, of course. So this one was a bit more enjoyable compared to the other 2 films I just reviewed. So I did like the whole idea that, yeah, there's this annual science fair, and of course it's up to Gamera to save the day, of course. So it gets pretty crazy as it goes, I guess. And I guess in some ways I did like the direction in which the director was doing. And it's fairly darker compared to the previous entries, with the previous 3 entries, I should say. But anyway, there's still some moments that did come off a little goofy in some ways, like this. Yeah, this came off a little, goofy. It's pretty silly in some ways. So yeah, still have some moments like this. So that's kind of weird. But anyway, the film as a whole isn't something I regret watching. It's not a great movie, really. It's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely an improvement over the previous 2 Gamera films I reviewed. So that should count for something, I guess you can say. So I didn't outright despise this movie, and I did enjoy this film a lot more than the American version, of course. I did like the way this film was photographed. Of course, the way this film was, choreographed overall was pretty nice. And I guess the soundtrack, the soundtrack is, better, I guess. Like, the soundtrack in this film is still isn't really great, really. But anyway, I did like the whole science fair being centered around this kind of a thing. So the whole science fair aspect of it was pretty interesting in its own little way. So that was pretty cool. While in some ways this film did come off like your typical giant monster movie, but for this film, the scriptwriter was attempting to mix things up a little bit, which of course I'm all for. So yeah, again, it does come out like a typical Gamera film, but they were trying to mix it up here and there, so nothing wrong with that, of course. So there was some stuff I did like about this film, and some other stuff I like not so much, really. The fight scenes I did like, of course. The fighting is, of course, one of the things you want to watch from these films anyway, so that's fine. The destruction scenes aren't too bad, of course. So even though I kind of wish there were more destruction scenes, but I guess it wasn't really within the budget to actually have more destruction scenes, but whatever. But the little girl here, folks, she was really annoying. She really didn't do anything. But anyway, one positive thing, I did like the fact that there was 2 characters from 2 different ethnic backgrounds teaming up as an attempt to help Gamera out, so that's something there. So there's lots of colors in this film, and I did like how the colors were used in this film, so that's definitely a plus there. And the fact that it's in high definition does help too, of course. I do like how it was in high definition because you're able to see all these colors. I like the color that the giant monster has. So overall, folks, it's a solid entry of this movie, so there's not much I can complain about, really, I guess. And of course, again, we get to see Gamera using his fire breath, of course, because that's one of his main weapons, obviously, in combat, of course. So this film does come out pretty adventurous in its own little way, which of course I do think is definitely a good thing. So overall, I can say that this was pretty cool in its own way. Again, this is the 6th installment of the series, and this is definitely something I wouldn't mind watching again. This is definitely a film I wouldn't mind watching. I know a lot of people did not watch the Japanese version of this film. The very fact that not many folks had done is one of the reasons I want to review this film, because it's not often people on YouTube had actually reviewed the Japanese version. But I don't think, not to have photos, a lot of people have reviewed the American version of this film, which I didn't want to do because I didn't like the American version of this film that much, really. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was wrong with the American version of this film. Again, I can't stretch it again. All the reviews I'm doing for these films are just strictly the Japanese versions. Of course, I did review the American versions in the past, but YouTube deleted them due to copyright infringement or whatever. But I guess this was some ways I could use this as an excuse to review some kaiju related stuff, because I do like these kinds of movies. I really enjoy them on one level or another, I guess you can say. But anyway, I feel like there's not enough people reviewing, talking about the Japanese version of these films. That's what I'm trying to get. Not a whole lot of people are talking about these films that much. At least not the Japanese cuts. The more common versions people seem to, come across, again, are the American versions. So I can't stretch it enough that if you are going to check out this film, if anybody that's watching this, check out the Japanese version, of course. So anyway, that's the thing. I did enjoy it more than the previous 2 installments of this series. And I did enjoy this film more than the American edited version, of course. So anyway, even though they try to do something a bit different, I still kind of feel like this film had some wasted potential overall. Still feel like it could have been a lot better than what it was, but oh well, I suppose. Yes, this film was cheaply made, of course. And yeah, they didn't have that much money, really, but I kind of like the fact that they had someone in costume. Yeah, I guess I'm just old-fashioned like that, I guess, folks. I do like the fact that, it had somebody in a costume. You had somebody using miniature sets to give it some sort of illusion of giant monsters. This kind of filmmaking isn't used anymore, unfortunately. I know lots of people want to use CGI. They want to refuse this. Unfortunately, yeah, this kind of a lost art, if you ask me, the way this film is being produced, the way it was made. I didn't think this was the worst movie ever made, but I did think it was a pretty solid entry. I do recommend it for those who haven't seen it, because honestly, I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, yes, it's a flawed movie. It's definitely a flawed movie. I'll give you that. It still felt a bit rushed to some degree. But I just kind of wish they could have taken more time with this film, folks. But you can always get what you want, I suppose. There's definitely lots of giant monster stuff going on in this film, which of course is definitely a plus here. So what's going on with the human characters must be connected with what's going on with the monsters. And that's definitely the case here. So even though some of the stuff is, unintentionally goofy, which I didn't like really, because there's some parts that's trying to be dark. Yeah, there's some parts in this film that's really intentionally trying to be more gloomier. So it's not, some of the humor didn't mix out that well either, really. So, but overall, this is more of an attempt to have a more coherent story. It's more consistent, and of course, I like the bad guy monster, the villain character here. And he does pretty brutal, of course, in his own little way. I do like his appearance in here, so that's definitely a plus there. So overall, I can't hate this movie really. And of course, we get to see that there's plenty of stuff to get destroyed, of course. Well, it's a giant monster movie, so what do you expect? That kind of thing is done here. So, what can I say, folks? There's not much else I can say about this film, so... And I do appreciate anybody that's actually watching this review, because I know this Gamera movie reviews I'm doing can actually be pretty lengthy. I know these videos are pretty long, so I do appreciate anyone that's actually watching this. So, thank you ahead of time. So, I do recommend Volume 1 and Volume 2 as well. Or unless you find the Japanese versions on DVD separately if you like. So, because some of those will have the behind the features stuff. Well, if you don't care about none of those behind the features stuff, I suggest getting Volume 1 and 2 as well, folks, on Blu-ray. If you just want to see the movie themselves. So anyway, like I said, there's not much else I can bring up because this was a solid movie. But anyway, this film gets an overall rating of 5.9 out of 10. It gets a 5.9 out of 10 from me. And as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time. Oh yeah. See ya.